Welcome back, everybody, to my annual October ranking series. This year I'm counting down my 31 favorite horror movies from the 2010s. At number 7, we have another very underrated movie from Hungary, one that I absolutely love and I want more people to check it out. That is White God. Now, I was debating putting White God on this list because it is one of those movies that walks a fine line between horror and non-horror, and it is one of those movies that some people would say is not horror and some people would say is horror, but at the end of the day, I fell on the horror side of things, and I just love talking about this movie. I've talked about it a couple times on this channel, I will probably talk about it again, but this is such an underrated movie that I want more people to see, and so I wanted to talk about it, so it's on my list. Deal with it. It's my list, you know, it doesn't hurt anything. But yes, this is, in my opinion, it's a horror movie, and it is a revenge movie, mostly from the point of view of a dog. This movie was filmed in Hungary, came out around 2014. It takes place in the not-too-distant future, because in movies, every future is not too distant. And it takes place during a time when there is this issue with mixed-breed dogs. I'm a dog person, I love dogs, so of course I figured out a way to put a dog movie on this list. Anyway, like mixed-breed dogs are considered inferior, and people are trying to only focus on purebred dogs, and people who own mixed-breed dogs get fined, and mixed-breed dogs get captured and brought to shelters where we know that kind of stuff that happens. But anyway, and we're following this particular girl, Lily, and her dog, Hagan. There are two main characters in this film. So Lily is forced to go stay with her father. Her parents are separated. And she brings her dog with her, and her father doesn't really like dogs, or at least as far as we know, he doesn't like mixed-breed dogs, which Hagan is. One thing leads to another, like he gets fined, he has to deal with all these things with the dog. One thing leads to another, and he lets the dog out of the car and drives away with Lily in the backseat wanting to get Hagan back. It's a very heartbreaking scene. And then we're following the journey of Hagan and Lily as she's trying to cope with the fact that her dog is not around anymore, and Hagan living his life on the streets, and we follow his adventures. And this eventually turns into a revenge movie because Hagan is mistreated by various people. It eventually gets to the point where he is captured and put in the facility with many other mixed-breed dogs. And in the third act, he starts a canine rebellion where he helps all the mixed-breed dogs escape from this facility, and they run amok throughout the city. And we have scenes where he gets revenge on people, there are scenes where people die, and it is a fantastic movie that more people need to see. Now, it does take a while to get to the revenge. I'd say it doesn't really become a horror movie until the third act, but in many ways, especially if you're a dog lover, you can consider it a horror movie because of the abuse that Hagan goes through. Now, this movie, no animals are harmed while making this movie. Like, they film it in a very way, so, like, there are scenes where Hagan gets beaten by someone, but you don't see him getting beaten. It's all suggested, so you know the dogs were taken care of while on the set of this movie. But it's a very interesting movie, especially because the dogs don't talk. And they're able to get so much emotion and story through these dogs without voice actors talking for the dogs. There is, dialogue in this movie, mostly with Lily and her father. And it's interesting because you hate the father at first, but then you start developing an understanding between father and Lily, and her father's feeling guilty for what happened, but then you still hate him for what he did to Hagan. It's a complicated relationship, but We're just I don't want to say enjoy, but we're just fascinated by the journey of this dog and Lily as they're dealing with each of their situations. And we really feel for Hagan throughout the film. He goes on a very interesting and intense journey. And then when we get to the third act, where all the dogs break loose and start running amok throughout the city, it's very satisfying, especially if you're a dog lover, and especially if you like to support people rescuing homeless dogs. Which brings me to another aspect of this movie, which for me makes it worth checking out alone. The director of this film, and I apologize, I know I'm going to mispronounce this, but Kornel Mundruczo, like I said, this movie primarily takes place in Hungary. But the director of this film got like 200 homeless dogs to play the dogs in this movie. And then after the movie was finished, he made sure every one of those dogs found a home. For me, that alone makes this movie worth supporting. I love the fact that the director not only got a bunch of homeless dogs to be the dogs in this movie, but then made sure they all found homes afterwards. I love that idea, and yes, for me, that reason alone is makes it worth supporting this film. When it comes to dog-based horror movies, as a dog lover, I mean, if you're on my channel, you know I work with dogs, I love dogs. As a dog lover, I always get a kick out of dog-based horror movies, especially when the dogs are supposed to be the villains, because they don't know they're on camera. They don't know they're in a movie. So there are times where the dogs are doing something that's supposed to be aggressive, but all you can think in your head is the dogs thinking, "Yay, it's playtime!" which makes the movie a little more entertaining for me. But yeah, it's like a very interesting movie. If you're a dog lover, it is a rough movie because the dogs are being mistreated. You know the dogs were not actually mistreated on set, but it is about dogs being mistreated. But you do get that sense of justice when they break loose and start fighting back against the people who mistreated them. Now, I do have to give a warning if you try to seek out this movie, because of the name White God. Now, I had some friends who were curious about this movie, so I tried to find a trailer for it on my phone to show them so they could get an idea. And when I typed in White God to the search engine, a lot of the first things that came up were white supremacist websites and hate websites and stuff like that. Needless to say, I do not support that kind of stuff. I think it's sad that we live in a time where this has to be clarified, but fuck white supremacists. But anyway, be careful about that when searching for this movie. Like, type in White God movie, White God 2014, or White God dog movie. Just, like, be careful when looking for this stuff, because some of the first thing, like, when it was like a few months ago where I tried to find a trailer for this, and when I typed it in, like I said, the hate websites and supremacist websites came up, and fuck those people. But so just be careful when looking for this movie. Do check it out because it is a good movie, but just be as specific as possible when looking for this film. Now that we're past that, let's move on. Hagan is a great main character, and yeah, he is the main character of this movie, and you do feel for him throughout this film as he's going through this journey. The ending is an interesting ending. I don't want to give too much away about it, but it's one of those endings where you're like, is this a happy ending or a sad ending? Because it does end on a bit of an ambiguous note. But it is a good ending, and I think it's the only way this movie could end without being so depressing that you just are in a funk for the rest of the day.
Papa!
But I do highly recommend White God. I think it's a great movie. It's like dog lovers, check it out, but just keep in mind the subject matter of this movie. But know that the dogs were treated well on set, and they all found a home afterwards, which is very heartwarming. But yes, White God. Love this movie. Very underrated. Highly recommend checking it out. And support your local animal shelters. Support finding homes for homeless dogs, because there are many great dogs and shelters out there that deserve to find a good home. So, yep, little PSA from the Maniac. Love your dogs. Support dog rescue. And we'll go on from there.